Hi guys, Harry Butter here. We're going to go in and tweak your Useroptions.ini. This is running on a Toshiba all-in-one computer. It's an i7 2.3 gigahertz processor, and it's got a crappy, well, mid-range or low-range Nvidia 630M mobile video card with 1 gig of memory. And we're just going to play with the Useroptions.ini and a couple other tweaks to make you maximize your system performance. Specifically, or typically, I'm going to say specifically if you've got a low end or a mid-range system. Let's get to it. All right, so you're at your desktop. You're trying to figure out how to find the Useroptions.ini, and it's on your C drive. So we can get to C drive. You can hit the folder down there. You can go to double-click on the computer, and there's your C drive. We're going to double-click on the C drive. We're going to go to Users. We're going to go to Public, Sony Online Entertainment, Installed Games, and Planetside 2. Now, if you installed this via Steam, of course, I think it'll be in the Steam directory, wherever it installs. And then we're going to scroll down, and there's the Useroptions.ini. Okay, we're going to double-click on that, and this is how I have my user options. And let's just go down the line here. One of the there's a couple of areas where FPS gets killed, and if you use the in-game graphic selection, a lot of things people ignore some of the sliders and some of the settings. One is screen resolution. Like my screen right now is running at 1920 by 1080. Okay, I can't run the game at 1920 by 1080. The frames are just way too low. I've got mine set at 1280 by 800. Gives me nice and wide. The higher you go with your screen resolution, the more you kill your FPS. All right. Yeah, it's going to be super quality, but unless you've got a high-end machine, if you've got a mid-range or low machine, which I think most people have, I would try 1280 by 800 or even 1024 by 768. It looks fine. The second one is RenderQuality. It's right here, and if you're going for Ultra, you set that at 2.0 or 1.4. Well, we're not doing that. We're using a lower-end system, so I'm going to put it at 80% or 75%, so 0.75 or 0.80. As we scroll down the list here, rendering, under GraphicsQuality, I'm going to explain this more in detail, this little setting here, down in a few seconds. But let's just go down the line. 4 is Ultra. TerrainQuality 0 is Ultra. And as we just scroll down here, they're all set to Ultra, except for like ShadowQuality. I turned that down. That's an FPS killer. I've got it set at 1 because I do like to have shadows, but I can't run it at Ultra. Now, if you do all the things that we're talking about in this video, and your FPS is still getting killed, one of the things you can do is just go ahead and turn the shadows off. That should give you 5 or 10 frames a second. Rendering distance is another FPS killer. There's no reason to have that set as infinite. There's no reason to have it set really over 2,000. Even if you're a flyer, 2,000 meters is plenty. It doesn't affect rendering of people, only of terrain and flora, and that's what eats up your FPS. So I'm pretty much a infantry guy, and I drive tanks and Sunders and things like that. So I've got it set at 1,000. If I know I'm going to fly all night, I'll set it at 2,000. Gamma is your brightness. Max FPS, I got it set at 120. User LODA, there's some debate about that. I don't know. I've tried 1 or 0. It doesn't seem to make that much of a difference. Overall quality needs to be set to -1, so you can do custom settings. So make sure to set that at -1. Lighting quality, of course, 4. And if you just go down the list, they're all 4, 4, 4, 4, 4. Until I get to ambient inclusion, I just set mine at 2, just to give me I think it gives me like 1 FPS extra. Ambient inclusion quality 2. Particle quality 3. Vertical field of view, the vertical FOV equals 120. I like mine a little wider and with a little bit of warp to it. This gives me a sense of motion. You can play with that. I think the default is 74, but you can just put some numbers in there. It's pretty fun to play with. FloralDistanceScale 3. Particle, and then we just go down the list. Fog shadows I have turned off. Okay. Motion blur I have on, ambient inclusion on, vertical sync is off. GPU physics is off. We'll scroll down the list here. Terrain, under Render Flora on. You can turn that off if you don't care. I like to have the Flora. Okay, so that's my Useroptions.ini. I'll leave that open right now. And let's go look at a couple of things that'll really boost up your FPS. Close that. first thing we're going to do, Nvidia Control Panel. You get to that and you right-click it and you hit Nvidia Control Panel. Okay, and this is going to come up. And under Manage 3D Settings, click that, and we're going to add Planetside 2's EXE to the under Program Settings. This is Global and then Program Settings. So you just hit Add, and we're going to scroll to the. I'll start. We're going to go just like before. See, Users, Public, Sony Online Entertainment, Installed Games, Planetside 2, and find the Planetside 2 EXE and add it. Okay, just click it and hit Open. Okay. Now you can decide how your video card operates in Planetside. Now I leave everything pretty much alone except when we get to max rendered, pre-rendered frames. I've got that set to 2. I've got my power management to max performance. I've turned off my texture filtering anisotropic sample. I've got negative load bias allow. Now this one right here, texture filtering quality. Now if you're not running a high-end system, I would set this to high performance. Not high quality, high performance. Texture filtering on, threaded optimization on, triple buffering on. This one's off by default, and vertical sync off. These settings here added another 5 to 7, maybe even 10 frames a second. Okay, and make sure to hit apply when you're done. Over here in the bottom corner. Okay, let's look at it. Another thing you can do. It's called Unpark CPU. Windows 7 parks your cores by default in the registry. I don't know why, it just does. This is a nice little program someone wrote to unpark them. Doesn't do any damage, and I did notice an FPS increase when I did this. So download the program, you can read all about it right here. Run it, reboot, and you should notice, hopefully you'll notice an increase in speed. The second thing, make sure you've got the newest Nvidia drivers, okay? That's a big deal. And the third thing, Razer Game Booster. I don't know if it really helps at all, but I downloaded it, and what it does is it disables some of your Windows services, and before it starts Planetside. And what you do is, I'll show it to you. You add, and you'll scroll to the game, just like you did with the other thing: Users, Public, Sony Online Entertainment, Installed Games, Planetside 2, and you'll go down here and you'll add Planetside. I think you add add Launchpad to it, okay? And that way it knows, it'll put it in there, and then you click on it and you can hit launch, okay? So those are the things that I've done to tweak my system as far as getting it ready to run Planetside. Now let's see what it looks like with these settings, and I'm going to go through this again here. We're going to change this over a couple of different videos. Okay, this is 4. This is ultra, as far as ultra as you can get with the mid or low range. This is just that graphics quality setting at 4. Everything else like I had it set before. Okay, looks nice. Textures look great. Everything looks beautiful. Good frame rates. 40-ish. 30-ish in big battles, that kind of thing, in close quarters, but playable, very playable, and it looks very pretty. Okay. All right, and this is, I'm going to go in and change graphics quality to 3. This is high. Sun's setting here. I've left everything else the same as before. I just changed the graphics quality equals to 3. Okay, now we're going to go under graphics quality and change it to 2, which is medium. And you'll see there was a big spike in the FPS. Goes up to about, I don't know, on my system about 70, 80 frames a second. This is medium. Everything else is the same. I just changed the graphics quality to 2. And finally, we're going to change graphic quality to 1. We're going to leave everything else alone. Shadows, all the ultra stuff, and just change that to 1. And you'll see a real big FPS boost, but you'll still get some of the benefits of ultra, like the textures and things like that. The cool thing about running low, though, is you can see the cloakers amazingly well. I don't know what, you can't see them on anything above medium. Not too good. But that's it. I hope this guide helps you. If you come up with anything else we can try, make sure to put it in the comments. And I'll see you in game.